Hi, I'm Eric Lanask. We're here at our Editor's Day in Santa Clara. In the studio with me now from Device Authority is Talbot Harty. Talbot, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to hear a little bit about your thoughts around IoT generally, but more specifically, what are some of the security implications? There's so much conversation and momentum around IoT in general. One of the less talked about topics, I think, has been security.
Yeah, that's true. And it's, I think it's finally becoming a really exciting time as we see IoT really picking up steam, both in consumer and industrial. And the security implications are pretty significant, frankly. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to be playing a lot of catch-up. And it's one of the problems that we've recognized and what we're focusing on is that the security posture that is that you need for an IoT application in a lot of ways is fundamentally different than other cybersecurity applications. And that's predominantly because the threat becomes a physical outcome. And in a lot of cases, particularly industrial, we can have catastrophic, potentially life-threatening outcomes that get introduced by malicious data injection and so forth. So what we're focused on is really kind of upgrading and introducing a whole kind of multi-dimensional IoT security posture that deals with the ability to authenticate and authorize devices to ensure that the devices that you're getting data from are in fact the ones that you deployed, performing integrity validation on those devices to ensure that they haven't been compromised in some way as they're communicating with cloud services. And third, allowing the flexibility for customers to introduce their own security policies and policy enforcement based on what's going on with the device, where it's deployed, how it's behaving, what's running on it, etc. And so all three of those dimensions coming together to provide multi-dimensional security for IoT.
Where's the best place to sort of place the security within the IoT? You've got, the point where the devices meet the network.
Yep.
You've got the network on the other side meeting the cloud in many cases, or the data center. Where are the security vulnerabilities, and where do you have to make sure that you are securing the IoT?
So the strongest security is two-sided in all cases, right? So you need to be on the endpoint or the edge device, okay, and you need to be at the end where that data gets delivered to. And as you mentioned, it's going through a cloud in a lot of cases. But that's not its final stop. It's not its final destination, right? The final destination is back to the enterprise that owns the devices and has deployed them in their vehicles or in their operations and facilities. So you got to be on both sides of the equation to have a very tight security model, and you have to deal with a variety of different security issues. Authentication is a primary one. Data transport security gets taken care of traditionally through PKI-based certs, SSL, TLS connections, but that creates a fundamental problem when you're dealing with cloud services. Because if I have sensitive data coming off of one of my IoT devices, and I want to get that back to my enterprise, and I'm leveraging a cloud service, how do I get that end-to-end security that doesn't make that data visible inside of the cloud? That's one of the fundamental problems that we solve as well. And that can be solved in a variety of different ways, but then you get into some operational deployment issues, which is the whole overhead of key management, certificate management, as you deploy these devices at scale.
So tell me a little more about how you are deployed.
So we're deployed on the devices themselves. So we have libraries that run in applications that can be leveraged in other applications and operating systems on the endpoints. And then we have what we call the D-Factor engine. That engine is a multi-tenant service provider ready authentication engine that allows you to register those devices, authenticate them, validate integrity, perform policy enforcement on them, and support what we call device-derived crypto, which gets you out of the static key management and deployment that you would need to do that end-to-end data encryption.
Who is the customer that you're approaching then? Is it the endpoint manufacturer? Is it the enterprise that's using the data?
It's the end customer using the product is going to be that customer, that enterprise customer that wants to have secure data flow from their IoT data collection points all the way through back into their back office applications. That's right.
Do you think, are we currently at a phase where there's enough realization that, we went through a long period in enterprise security where it was, people didn't feel they had to worry about it because nothing had happened to them, right? So we can't be at risk. Have we gone through that with IoT, or are we skipping that because of what we saw in the enterprise?
I think we're a little more sensitive to it because of what's going on generally with cybersecurity, but I would tend to agree with you, and it's always reactive. And that's kind of what I was talking about. The difference in being too reactive in this scenario is that the implications are physical outcomes. And so you can't really afford to have the same kind of poo-pooing the security attitude, waiting for the bad day to happen with a data breach. This is potentially data feeding in from a data collection application to a control plane application that's going to take automated actions and outcomes that are going to be very machine-to-machine oriented. So the bar for prevention must be significantly higher for IoT security than it has been for online security in general.
So how do you make that case to your prospective customers that they can't wait?
You know what's funny is some of the things that you're seeing in the news are making that case for us, right? When you see the Jeep scenario that was run through and people go, oh my gosh, people can actually affect what's happening while I'm driving a vehicle. Or the news about the guy that was on the airplane and got into the entertainment system and started messing around there. Those are very real and scary potential threats, right? Sure. And so the need to restrict the attack surface of these applications and reduce that threat surface is, I think it's appreciated much more than kind of what happens with your online bank account or something like that.
Of course, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
So going forward, where do you see your business heading?
I see us, we're all about right now developing a very tight and group of partnerships and getting connected in the overall IoT ecosystem to bring our dynamic security solution to the market. So it's really about partnering with the vendors that are making the devices, that are offering the cloud services, so that the customers can ultimately take our security solution and protect themselves. And that's so it's kind of a two-step process for us. It's very participative, it's very partner-oriented, and that's what we're here to do, is to be an enabler for IoT security.
And frankly, I think those partnerships help educate the end customers as well, so sort of two steps in one.
That's right.
Well, Talbot, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Nice meeting you.